Hello guys. Do you have any difficulties in TOEFL listening section, especially in IBT? Don't worry because we will help you to find the solution. I'm Rizky Amalia Ardhani, number 19, 10, 30, 20, 65, and Dhesi number 19, 10, 30, 20, 52. We are from class 2, semester 4, from English department of Tidar University. We are gonna tell you about strategies for TOEFL IBT listening section.
In this video, we will explain about 1. Introduction to TOEFL IBT, 2. General strategies, 3. Question types in TOEFL IBT, 4. Examples of TOEFL IBT questions. What is TOEFL IBT? TOEFL Internet-Based Test, or IBT, is the internet-based test of English as a foreign language. It measures your ability to use and understand English as read, written, heard, and spoken in universities.
TOEFL IBT listening section is delivered immediately after the reading section. The listening section of TOEFL IBT measures your ability to understand spoken English in academic settings. In TOEFL IBT, the listening is done for three major purposes. Number 1. Listening for basic comprehension. Number 2. Listening for pragmatic understanding. And number 3. To connect and combine ideas presented in multiple information sources. Each part of the listening section, two or three parts, consists of one long conversation and two lectures. The test takers hear each lecture or conversation only once. Lectures and conversations are 3 until 5 minutes long. During the listening, the time is not running. The allotted time of 10 minutes for each part is only for answering the question. Preparation strategies. First, listen to spoken English from multiple sources as much as possible. Listen to English spoken movies and English spoken TV channels. Listen to the radio and as many other listening sources as you may find. It would be better if your passages are academic or close to what is in TOEFL IBT. The more you practice listening, the better listener you will become. And then, listen for the main idea. It is usually found at the beginning of the listening passages, while the details are dispersed throughout the lecture. The main idea will give you understanding of what the conversation or the lecture is about. Then you may listen for details. Number 3, learn to find how the ideas are presented in the listening passage. Some of the main relations between ideas include cause or effect, and then compare or contrast, and steps in a process. And then learn to listen for signal words that indicate different parts of the passage. For example, introduction, major steps, examples, and conclusions, etc. And then build your vocabulary. While listening, try to guess the meaning of unfamiliar words from context. It is very important since there is a big chance to come across words you don't know at the real test. Then you should guess their meaning. Write down every word you don't know and include it in your word list. Try to memorize it and use it in your speaking and writing. Flashcards could be a great way to improve your vocabulary. And then listen to conversations or a lecture with variety of accents. In TOEFL IBT listening section, there is a variety of accents and pronunciation. For this reason, you should practice listening to people with different accents and pronunciation patterns. Practice note taking. Note taking is allowed during all sections of TOEFL IBT. Effective note taking may highly improve your performance. It is almost impossible to memorize all clues and details provided in the listening section. Moreover, you can hear the passages only once. Therefore, to answer the questions, you have to rely on what you remember from the passage and your notes. See also our effective note taking strategies. And then, summarize in writing what you have read using your notes. Thus, you will learn to find the purpose and the main idea of the listening and also the most important details. We will also learn to take and use notes. It also helps in improving your writing skills. And the last one is familiarize yourself with the type of questions in TOEFL IBT. Make sure that during the preparation you learn what answers are required by the different types of question. Some questions may ask you to provide two answers, others to click in a chart box. If you are familiar with the question types, you may save important time.
Add exam strategies. First, forget about the reading section. Now it is time to fully concentrate on the listening section. Second, the clock is ticking only when you are answering the questions and not when you are listening to the passages. So when you listen, forget about the clock. Third, prepare for note taking. Before the section starts, write down the words main idea, major point, and important details, under which word you will place your notes from the listening passage. Fourth, do not be distracted by the speaker accent, speaking style, and delivery. Focus on the content and flow of information the speakers deliver. Fifth, listen to find clues that will help you understand what the speaker purpose, attitude, and degree of certainty is. Listen for words that show relationship between ideas. Sixth, pay attention to the visual materials. Some of the visual materials in the listening section bring important information. Blackboards show important words or phrases that are discussed during the lecture. Illustration and graphics support the information presented in the lecture. They are available only when the lecturer refers to them. Seventh, answering is different. In the listening section, you might not return to the previous question to correct your answers. Nevertheless, you have to confirm twice that you want to move to the next question. First, when you provide your answer, you have to press the next button. After pressing the next button, you may alter your answer. To move to the next question, you have to press OK button. Sometimes test takers forget this and lose important time. Please set your mind that you have to press two buttons.
There are some question types in TOEFL IBT test. The first is type 1, and it is the gist content questions. The gist of the lecture may be expressed explicitly or implicitly. This may require you to generalize or synthesize information from what you hear. For example, what problem does the man have? What is the lecture mainly about? What are the speakers mainly discussing? Tips: use your notes and eliminate choices that don't fit. And then the second one is type 2, or the gist purpose questions. This type of questions are more likely to occur in conversations than lectures. For example, why does the student visit the professor? Why does the professor explain X? Why does the student visit? Tips: identify the original reason the student went to the professor's office. Many times, seeing the student's problem will help you solve the question.
Type 3. Detailed questions require you to understand and remember explicit details or facts from a lecture or conversation. 1. What resulted from the invention of the X? 2. According to the professor, what is one way that X can affect Y? 3. According to the professor, What is the main problem with the exterior? Tips: refer to your notes and don't be distracted by wording. We will present 3 questions of the type above. After this, you will listen to the first audio.
Exercise 1. The Olympic Games have a long and rich history. The first official Olympic Games took place in Athens in 1896, although experts point out that there is evidence of ancient Olympic Games taking place as early as 776 BC. Athletes in these ancient games competed on the plains of the Greek city of Olympia. The ancient Olympic Games were part of a religious festival and continued for nearly 12 centuries, until banned by Byzantine Emperor Theodosius in 393 AD. The ancient Olympic Games consisted of several athletic events. Perhaps the most grueling sport was the pentathlon, an event which included 5 parts: running, jumping, wrestling, boxing, and the discus throw. The ancient games also included equestrian events, such as horse and chariot racing. While women were forbidden to compete or even to enter the stadium during the ancient games, many female athletes compete in various events in today's Olympic Games. In addition, although only Greek-born men were allowed to compete in the ancient games, men and women from all over the world come to compete and represent their countries in the modern Olympic Games. Nowadays, the Olympic Games are governed and organized on an international level by the International Olympic Committee, known as the IOC. The IOC establishes the program of events and chooses the city in which the Games are to be held. On the national level, each country that sends athletes to the Games has a National Olympic Committee that oversees the participation of the athletes for their country. The opening ceremony of the Games is held in a stadium in a major city. After the Parade of Nations, in which the athletes march around the stadium to represent their host country, the athletes take the Olympic oath. The Games, which are said to promote friendship and understanding among nations, then officially begin. Now you will hear questions 1 to 5. 1. When did the first official Olympic Games take place? 2. How many events did the pentathlon include? 3. Who was not allowed to compete in the ancient Olympic Games? 4. What is the IOC? 5. What happens during the Parade of Nations? 'That is the end of exercise 1. That is the end of unit 1.
Now listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Hi, Professor. You got a minute?
Sure, Christy. Did you pick up your paper yet? I just finished grading them and I was really impressed with yours.
Really?
Of course, I loved your arguments. And what you wrote about farming for less than $10 a day, it really has incredible real world applications. I can tell you put a lot of thought into this paper.
Speaking of real world applications, that's sort of what I wanted to talk to you about the student exchange program.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Are you thinking of going somewhere? That's a great program.
Well, I have a couple of places in mind, but I really have my heart set on Guatemala.
What draws you to Guatemala?
I think Guatemala would be the most relevant place for me. It would be perfect to go there so I can do some research about my ideas.
I can see where you're coming from, Christy. I think you have some good reasons. I hate to tell you this, but the exchange program in Guatemala is only for Spanish majors, and the Spanish department is usually pretty strict about that.
No, there has to be some way I can go. I've already done so much research about it. Guatemala is perfect for my research. It has the exact type of agricultural practices, economy, and environmental conditions I want to study and explore.
You make a fair argument, but have you thought of other places? I really wouldn't want you to get your hopes up since it's a program run by the Spanish department, and I can't remember the last time a student was able to go who wasn't a Spanish major.
That doesn't seem fair. Is there nothing I can do? They must have let someone go before who isn't a Spanish major, right? I mean, I know some Spanish, if that's any consolation.
Look, I want you to have the opportunity to go, and I agree that it could be an ideal place for your research. Since you are very passionate about going, I'll talk to the person in charge of the situation and see if they can find a way to accommodate you.
Really, Professor? Thank you, thank you. That means so much to me.
I think you should prepare a solid argument to present to the Spanish department just in case. Can you do that?
Of course, absolutely. I'll do anything. I will be ready.
Okay, glad to hear it. Let me talk to the department and I will let you know if anything changes, okay?
Okay, thanks, Professor.
Now, answer the questions. 1. Why does the student go to see the professor? 2. Why does Christy want to go to Guatemala? Select 2. 3. Why might Christy not be able to go on a trip to Guatemala? 4. Why does the professor decide to help Christy? Select 2. 5. Why does the professor ask Christy if she has thought of other places to go? 'Now, answer the questions. 1. Why does the student go to see the professor? 2. Why does Christy want to go to Guatemala? Select 2. 3. Why might Christy not be able to go on a trip to Guatemala? 4. Why does the professor decide to help Christy? Select 2. 5. Why does the professor ask Christy if she has thought of other places to go? Now listen to part of a talk in a geology class.
Geology is the study of Earth's crust and the processes that have shaped its surface throughout history. Heat escaping from the interior provides energy for the formation of our planet's mountains, valleys, volcanoes, and even the continents and oceans themselves. But not until the middle of the 20th century did geologists succeed in understanding just how these landforms are created. Plate tectonics is a theory that explains how slow motions within the Earth's interior move large pieces of land, resulting in a gradual drifting or spreading out of the continents. Plate tectonics is a concept as basic to geology as evolution by natural selection is to biology, or gravity is to understanding the orbits of the planets. Looking at it from a different perspective, plate tectonics is a way for Earth to transport heat efficiently from the interior, where it has accumulated, out to space. It is a cooling system for the planet. All planets develop a heat transfer process as they evolve. Now, Earth's crust is divided into about a dozen tectonic plates that fit together like the pieces of a puzzle. In some places, such as the Atlantic Ocean, the plates are moving apart. In other words, such as off the western coast of South America, they are being forced together. The power to move the plates is provided through a process by which heat escapes from the interior through the upward flow of warmer material and the slow sinking of cooler material. As the plates slowly move, they bump into each other and cause dramatic changes in Earth's crust over time. You know, when studying maps of Earth, many students notice that the coast of North and South America could fit pretty well against the coast of Europe and Africa. It seems as if these great landmasses could have once been together and then were somehow torn apart. The same idea had occurred to others, including Francis Bacon as early as 1620, but not until the 20th century could such a proposal be more than just speculation. The scientist who made the case for continental drift in 1920 was a German meteorologist named Alfred Wegener. Born in Berlin in 1880, Wegener from an early age dreamed of exploring. Later in his life, his interests turned more toward Earth's weather. He carried out experiments using kites and balloons, becoming so accomplished that he and his brother set a world record in 1906 by flying for 52 hours in a balloon. Wegener first thought of continental drift in 1910 while examining a world map in an atlas, but it took 2 years for him to assemble enough data to propose the idea in public. He published the results in book form in 1915. Wegener's evidence went far beyond the similarities in the shapes of the continents. He proposed that the similarities between fossils found only in South America and Africa indicated that these two continents were joined at one time. He also showed that similarities among living animal species on different continents could be best explained by assuming that the continents were once connected in a supercontinent he called Pangaea, from Greek elements pan meaning all and gaea meaning land. Wegener's suggestion was met with a hostile reaction from most scientists. Although he had collected an impressive list of arguments for his hypothesis, he was missing a mechanism. No one could explain how solid continents could drift over thousands of miles. A few scientists were impressed by Wegener's work and continued searching for additional evidence, but many found the idea of moving continents too revolutionary to take seriously. Developing an understanding of the mechanism, plate tectonics, would take decades of further research. Critics of science often point to the resistance to the continental drift hypothesis as an example to the flawed way that scientists regard new ideas. But there is a more positive light in which to view Wegener's story. Scientists in his day maintained a skeptical attitude because they needed more evidence and a clear mechanism that would fit what they understood about nature. Once the evidence was clear, Wegener's hypothesis quickly became the centerpiece of our view of a dynamic Earth.
Now, answer the questions. 1. What is the purpose of the lecture? 2. Why does the professor start the lecture by defining geology? 3. How is the lecture organized? 4. According to the lecture, what is the purpose of plate tectonics? 5. Why does the professor say this?
Born in Berlin in 1880, Wegener from an early age dreamed of exploring.
6. According to the lecture, what evidence did Wegener find to support his theory of Pangea? Select 2.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and share.